Hey everyone, Marco here, and welcome to another pencil mark video. I have not done these in a while, and I am so sorry, but here is one that I've been wanting to do ever since I got back from WPC. Yep, that's right, I was at the World Puzzle Championships this year, WPC. I took a quick trip to Canada for it, and it was pretty fun. I loved getting to meet all of the people I knew online from puzzle contests and puzzle discords and stuff. Sadly, I did not get to meet Mark from Cracking the Cryptic. He was there at the Sudoku Championship, which was a few days earlier, and he won the over 50 prize for that, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I got to meet a lot of my normal puzzle friends. I was a part of Germany's Team B, and we did fairly well. I think about 14th in teams, and I got 45th individually, which is almost the top 25% of the 170-ish people that were there. So I'm pretty happy with that being my first time score. And I'll try to be there next year too, and try to get an equal or a better score that time. It can only go up from there, but the most important part is I had a really good time. And I think talking through stuff here a little bit sort of helped too. So I do recommend that if you want to do these puzzle contests, making these videos can help to try to get you a little bit more used to stuff like this. Anyways, today I wanted to show you some of the puzzles that were at the championship. This one here is probably one of the only free ones that you're going to be able to see from there. At the end of the championship, we had 15 playoff puzzles. Now, there were 17 individual rounds. Two were mixed, the welcome round and the word puzzles round. But then the other rounds were three of each: number placement, object placement, shading, loops, and what was the last one? Region division. So instead of having one big winner at the end, I mean, of course, there was one big winner. It was Ken Endo, who was freaking amazing, top 3'd every single category. But yeah, at the end, there were individual playoffs for prizes for each individual category, and there were 5 different winners for those, which was actually a very neat thing to see. So these are the number placement puzzles. I'm going to be doing the number placement puzzles today, but the rest of the puzzles will be in future videos. And yeah, you can find these puzzles as well as my write-up for my experience at WPC in full down below. Sadly, it's going to be a little bit not that easy to follow for people that weren't at WPC because it talks a lot about the puzzles, and because the puzzles are going to be published under a paywall, I can't really share images of those or whatever on my posts, so it is what it is. I just hope that you enjoy me talking about them a little bit and showing you these playoff puzzles. Sadly, there was an incident at the World Puzzle Championship where the recording equipment got stolen after the Sudoku Championships were done. So it was the staff were unable to stream the people solving on paper at their tables. Usually they have a little camera overlooking the table and everyone solving stuff individually there, which they did for the Sudoku Championship, I believe. But they could not do that for the Puzzle Championship because they didn't have the cameras. So they had to improvise and printed out these puzzles on these huge easels, and everyone solved them on the easels in front of the room. I can link the Sudoku and the Puzzle Championship streams down below. Sadly, for the Puzzle Championship, it was because it was their first time streaming it under these conditions, the video was vertical, but you can see the easels on there. And these were the puzzles that they did on the easels, and I'm going to try to resolve them over here. So yeah, that's going to be fun. So here we do have the 3 number placement puzzles. I'm going to have the rules over here on the right. This here is a TomTom. If you know a Ken, it is the copyright-free version of that, basically. And also, you're not given symbols for each of these. So your goal is just to place numbers from 1 to 6 in each cell so that each digit appears once. So, and then, yeah, for example, for this 5, you could place a 1, 4. And that's fine because they sum up to 5, right? 1 plus 4. What you could also do is 1 and 5 because they would multiply to 5. 6 and 1 is also fine because 6 minus 1 is 5. For minuses and divides, you have to take the biggest number first and then subtract or divide all the smaller numbers from that. That's basically how TomTom works. So we're going to look at that first. The other 2 puzzles are going to be later on in this video. It's going to be a cockroach / cross sums and a gapped skyscrapers. And I'll explain the rules when we get there. So let's get started on the TomTom. This is going to be fairly difficult to solve. There we go. There's my tablet working again. But yeah, I do remember the first place finisher being stuck on this one for quite a while, so this can be fairly tricky. Number placement is also the genre that I sorta did the worst in comparatively. It's not something that I like a lot. So for large numbers, I believe for the 30 and for the 48, we're going to have to make these by multiplying numbers. 30 is relevant because it's the 30th Puzzle Championship, which is why a lot of 30s were used for these. And I think the 16th Sudoku Championship, but the 16 is unrelated. So for the 30 times, I know these are both going to have a 5 somewhere. I'll do these in red so we don't get confused. They're both going to have a 5 somewhere, and then these are going to be a 6. So it's going to be like a 2, 3, or it's going to be a 1, 6. So that's for the 30. The 48, I think 48, that's 3 times 16. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. We could do something like 4, 4, 3 for that. We could also do 4, 6, 2. So that can still go one of those ways. There is definitely at least one 4. But an interesting thing I do see for the 5 is that this has to contain a 4, because the 30s cannot contain a 4. It's always a 5 and then either a 2, 3 or a 1, 6 pair. So this 5 is going to, yeah, we're going to have, let's use this layer here. We're going to have a 1, 4 pair and a 1, 4 pair. And then in one of these, we're going to have a 6 at the top and a 1 in the bottom, because the 1 needs to get pushed down. And in the other, we're going to have a 5 in the bottom and the 2, 3 up top. So actually, I think what we can do is we can make a 1-5 pair here. Because the two 30s, they're going to be 2, 3, 5, 1, 5, 6 in total. And the second 5 and the 1, they have to move to the second row. This 16 here. 16 is interesting because it's not quite large enough that we have to make it using a multiplication. Multiplication is fine. We can do stuff like a 4, 4, 1, right? We can do that for multiplying, or a 2, 2, 4, like that. We can also do something like 6, 4, well, 6, 4, 6 here, or a 6, 5, 5. Those would also both be fine for addition. The 5 being here does rule this 5 out. So it would rule a 5 out from these, meaning the largest we can make here is 6, 4. This combo, and we'd have to have a 6 here. So it would end up being like this. So something interesting that we might be able to say here is there is always going to be a 4 in these two cells. Because it's either going to be 6, 4, 6 or 4, 4, 1, which, oh, it can't be 4, 4, 1 because of the 1 pair. 2, 2, 8 does not work, so 4, 2, 2 is the other option. Oh, actually, in all cases, there's going to be a 4 here. And then, let's do that at the layer down below here. And then there's going to be a 2, 6 pair. I mean, a 2, 6 identical. That's weird. Okay. Those are going to match up. And then over here for the 15, it's definitely going to have a 3 in one of these cells. That's going to pair with either a 2 or a 6. But it can't pair with a 2, because 2 times anything is an even number. And 2 plus 3 is 5, so we'd have to have like 10 here. So we actually need a 3, 6 over on this side. Wait. Okay, there we have the right hotkey. That means we can actually make this the 2. And this is going to be our 3, 6 pair. And actually, we can even make this 3, 6, 3 like so. Because we know that the last number in the addition has to be a 6. That's pretty interesting. So where do we go from there? I think we got to go down to the 48 or the 10 maybe. It's got a 2. It's got two 2s up above. So we can't make it a multiplication because the multiplication is 1, 2, 5. So it has to be an addition. The addition has to be either, it can't be 3 even numbers, it's got to be 1 even number and 2 odd numbers to make 10. It's fine if we make the 10 with something like 6, 3, 1. Something like 4, 5, 1 is also fine. Or 4, 3, 3. No, that would mean we'd have to have the 4 in the corner. That's not fine. This is tough. Oh, on the other side here, this, well, actually, let's make this a plus here. This is a times. This is going to be a plus. This 15 here, it cannot be a plus because we've got 6's looking down at it, so the highest numbers we can put here are 5, 4, 5. And that's going to add up to 14, not 15. So the 15 has to be a times. So it's got to be a 1, a 3, and a 5. But so the 3 is going to have to be here. And for the 1, 5, we can make this a pair. The remaining two numbers here are 4 and 2. But the 4 is up here, so this is going to be a 2. This is going to be a 4. And we said the 2 goes with 3 and 5, so this can't be 1. This is the 5, and this is the 3. So the 1 is going to be over here. And we're going to have 5 and 6 up top here. And the 2 and the 3, those are going to be set over on the left side. Four is now in the 8. And I do think because of the 3 looking down, we can't make two numbers here that add up to 4. So this is going to have to be a multiplication. 4 times 2 times 1. So this is a 1-2 pair. Up above we have 4 and 6, and we can place those because of the 6 right here. I am wondering how we get the 2 in this spot. We do have a 4 here, which limits some options, but not all of them. I guess one thing we can say is we have to place a 5 here, because we cannot place a 5 in the 8, and we can't place a 5 in the 48, because that's multiplication. So one of these has to be a 5, and then the other is a 3 because of minus. So over here on the right, we're going to need a 1, 2, 6 in this bottom row. This is going to be a 1, 6 pair. This is going to be a 2, 6 pair. And of course, I think we can only do 2 and 6 because 1 and 6, that's going to leave a times remainder of 8. But 2 and 6, that's going to leave a remainder of 4. That's doable. And up above here, we need to place a 3 in one of these spots. 5 and 6 also. Oh, 6 can only go up top here with a 5 in this spot. That leaves 3 and 5 down here. Over here, that's a 1, 3 pair. We've got 3 down, 3 over on this place, so that disambiguates that. Gives us all of this as well. And that's going to be everything pretty much done. Now it's just a matter of filling in the rest. We got a 6 to finish off the 10. And yeah, that definitely does work. In the middle here, we've got a 1 and a 5 to place in row 3. The 5 is from down below. But we've placed the 1, which disambiguates the 1, 4 up top. And that's a 4, 2 to be placed in row 4. And that is complete. Very nice. So that is our TomTom done. So let's go to our second puzzle here. I paused real quick to edit the rules. And yeah, we got cross sums. Most people know this as cockrow, which it is marketed as because it sounds like Sudoku. You know, it's the Japanese genre, but this is actually a Canadian invention, which they made very clear there by Jacob E. Funk or Funk, I don't know. Um, and the second round in the WPC was themed all around cross sums. So they only had cross sums variations that entire round. And that was pretty neat. I didn't get a lot done there, but it was pretty neat. I'll edit that out. Um, yeah, fun cockroach round. I only got the harder variations because I broke the easier ones somehow. So now I've got to solve a vanilla one here, I guess. So yeah, if you don't know the rules for cross sums, I think it's a fairly common genre, so you should, but basically it's a sum crossword. Enter the single digits from 1 to 9 in each cell. No two of the same number can see each other looking across or down, and the numbers do stay between 1 and 9. And summing them up equals the number that's above or to the left. Some of these may be a bit hard to read because they're in red or blue, but that is just sort of the theme for this championship because it's red and blue. It's Canada and the United States who did all the organizing. So let's get to solving this. The 12 clue going down, the smallest number that can be here is a 3, and we've got the 4 across, so let's just enter that. I probably won't talk too much for the lower numbers here. 16 spanning 5 cells, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. The 6 has to be with the 15 here for the 9 here, and there's the 2 for the 11. Um, 8 going down, intersecting with a 16, that's got to have a 7 and a 1 and a 9. Yeah, that's the maximal minimal thing going on there. 16 going down over here, that's got a 7 and a 9, but a 7 can't be in the 14 clue going down because that would be 7, 7. So it's a 9, a 5, a 7, and an 8. Which means we'd need a 6 and a 9 going down. But we can only have a 6 max in the 16 clue. So that's that. We are missing a 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. This number, it can only be a 1, 2, I guess because it's got an 8, 9 pair above it. This number can be whatever, so we've got a lot of unchecked cells here that can just be whatever. So we gotta watch out for those. Over here, we've got a 9 and the remainder is 7, which is in 3 cells. The combo that makes that is 1, 2, 4. The 4 down, that's 1, 3. So they can only share a 1, and the other 2 cells on either side are 2, 4. It's a bit confusing that I chose red as my pencil marks and blue as my regular numbers here because they also have blue and red cells. That's a bit frustrating. But yeah, it just is what it is, right? 4 intersecting with a 12, again, that shares a 3 because this has to go to a 9, this goes to a 1. We do have a 4 down below here. 3 cannot be here because it would see another 3, so it goes to the left. This 12 can still be anything. We do have an 8, which has a 1 in here somewhere. It can be a 1, 2, 5, or it can be a 1, 3, 4. The 16 here is definitely a 7, 9, and it sees a 9 from down below here. So we fill that out this way. We've got all odd numbers. That is interesting. We have all odd numbers here. So the rest of these numbers are going to be even. This is a weird pencil mark, but I'm going to write an E in all of these. And that means these two numbers here are going to be odd, because you can't do 3 even numbers. That would be a 2, 4, 6, and that would be too big to make an 18. One of these is the 1. The other... So it could be like a 1, a 1, 3 pairing with a 4, or a 1, 5 pairing with a 2. But it's definitely a 2 or a 4. Let's see here. What else do we have? This is definitely a 1, 3 pair. Oh, the 16, that's a 7, 9 pair. But the 14 looking down, it can only be 7 max. So over here, 7, 9 goes up to a 4. Let me just check that my layering is correct. All right, I've got all the red stuffs on their own layer. That's good. We've got a 1, 2, 4 up above. This cell can only be 1, 2 pairing with the 4. This is 1, 2, 4, I guess. This is 1, 2, 4. This cell is 1, 3, 4. This is still anything, because this pairs with a 2. This is 3, 4 here at the end for the 27. Actually, this here is maximal 4. This here is maximal 6. So we have a rest of 17, which is 8, 9. So we can just straight up fill these out, I think. This is going to be a 4. This is going to be a 6 with a 1 and a 9, and that's going to disambiguate the 8, 9. Awesome. Right side, up top, done. This is going to be a 1, 2, 3. Over here we've got a 2, 3. Over here we've got a 1, 3. The 17 going down, it's got to add up to... This here has to be a 9, and these two have to go to the upper bound to even make that 17. So we've got a 4. Oops, wrong layer. We've got a 9 here, we've got a 4 here, we've got a 3 here. That gives 1 and a 2 in these spots. 2, and the 3 and the 9 here, that goes with a 4. Oops. There we go. 2, 4, looking down, does that give us anything? I don't know yet. I think it does fix this here at the bottom as an odd number, because we cannot have a 6 and an 8 clue, and 2 and 4 are blocked. This 1 and 3 is going to be odd. So this is going to be either a 2 or a 4. This is fixed to be an even number, basically. Weird deduction, but okay. Um, 1 is now blocked here. This is either a 3 or a 4 paired with a 1 and 2 up top. Actually, yeah, this is going to be this has to be maximized. So this is a 9, this is a 4. It goes with an 8 here, goes with a 2 here. 2, 4, 1 is the only option here. 3 over here. 2 and 4 are filled out. Let's get rid of all of these marks, and that is the entire left side done. The 4, that goes with a 1, 3 pair. So, whoops, that was my phone. So this is also a 1, 3 going off over here. 2, 4, we need 6 more. So that can't be 3. That's got to be 1, 5. It can't be 3, 3. So this is a 3 here. This is a 1 here. And the 1 and the 5, they work with the odd number here. I mean, the 1 needs to move over here. And then we've got either 5, 2 or 3, 4. So this has to be 3 with a 4 being here. Let's clear that out. And over here, we've got 7 numbers in this column. We're missing 6 or 8. So this has to be 6 or 8. But if this is 8, it has to pair up with a 1, 3. So this is definitely 6. And it goes with a 2, 4. Because this is even. 2 is here, so 4 is here, so this is a 2 and a 4. Looking down, this has to be even, and it can't be 6 for a 6, 6 for the 12. So this has got to be an 8, and this has to be a 4. Done. That was pretty tough. I could not get this in the expected like 5 on an easel. That is tricky. Let's go over to the last one, which is a gapped skyscrapers. All right, and now for the last puzzle here. Skyscrapers gapped. Or I think it was just Gap, actually, whatever. This is by David Altizio, who I know online as DJ Mathman, and it was really cool meeting him in person over there. Anyways, he did some reffing and also wrote a whole bunch of puzzles, a whole bunch of tilted squares, um, for the championship. And this is one of the finale puzzles that DJ Mathman wrote. So it's a skyscrapers variant. So for skyscrapers, usually it's place numbers from 1 to 6 in this 6x6 grid so that the numbers on the outside see that many things in that direction if they're like a person looking at a bunch of buildings of different heights. So for this 3, if we had something like a 2, 1, 4, 3, 6, 5 sequence, this 3 would look from the bottom to the top. It would see the 2. It won't see the 1 because the 1 is sort of smaller than the 2, so it's blocked. It does see the 4, and then the 3 is smaller than the 4, so it would get blocked here. The 6 is visible above the 4, and the 5 is then blocked by the new tallest building in that direction. That is the rule for normal skyscrapers, and then the rule for the special gapped variant is that there is a gap, or a park, some people call it, which is basically a height 0 building. So that can just be looked over in a way. So for this 5 up top over here, for example, we could have something like this, where it sees the 1, sees the 2, 3, 4, 5 here. There's a gap here where there's no building, and it just looks over that. This being in the beginning is totally fine too. For the most part, gaps just sort of work like a 0 height building. They do some weirdness to the numbers, but for the most part, it is similar to normal skyscrapers. So let's take a look at that now then. Immediately, I think the two 5 clues interact in some sort of special way. Because one of the fives has, both of the fives have to have their numbers in ascending order, with the park, or the gap. I'm more used to calling it a park because I think German convention is calling it parks. But one of the fives has to be in the bottom, and one of them gets sort of pushed up, pushing everything else up. And this one then pushes this one down. So we've got this configuration where all the numbers are in a row. And it's either this or the other way around, where this one is up here, this 5 is down here. And the parks are always either at the top or the bottom. So how should we mark this? Let's do the numbers in between. And that is sort of that for the one, for the 1, 2, 3, 4 here. How does that help us? So we know the 5s are going to be in these spots. The 5, with the 4 here, the 5 cannot be here or here or here or here. So I think the 5 is in one of those two spots. We can't have the 4 here. We can't have this row be the one that's shifted up, because that means this 4 could only see like one building, this 4 and this 5, and those are all the buildings that this 4 sees. So we have to shift them the other way. This 4 has to go down. I think that is our break-in here. So let me just erase those marks here. And maybe I'll color in the gaps in red. Actually, wait, we have a paint bucket for a reason. Let's use it. Ah! Sorry. I'm so sorry. Uh, wrong layer. Okay. Wait, actually, I can refer to other layers here. Okay. Sorry about that jump scare. Um, okay. This 4, right? It sees one number here, a 3, a 4, and a 5. I think for this 4 here, if it's got the 1 and the 2 in the row already, so if we placed a building here, it would have to be 3 or higher. And if it's 3 here, then we can't see 4 buildings anymore because the 1 and the 2 are blocked. So this one, it's got to be a gap. So then it sees a 1. And I do think it's got to see 3 more buildings after this. So this is a 3 which covers the 2, and then we've got a 4 and a 5 in that order. So I think this 5 clue is done, this 5 clue is done, this 4 clue is done. This 4 clue is going to be done no matter what we do because this can't be a gap, so it's got to see something in this spot. All that's left for us is to figure out the 4 and the 5 beneath here. This 3 is going to look up, I mean the 4 and the 3. This 3 is going to look up at the 5, so these, let's just say they have to exist. So these can't be parks. Let's get rid of the 5s here real quick. So the gap in this column, there's only really one spot where it can go. It's got to be here. And the number above can't be a 1, so the 1's got to be down below. And a 2-3 pair goes in the other spots. Our remaining gaps are just here and here. Those are whatever. Let's see. Well, one thing... Yeah, I think our argument here is, do we place the 5 in this spot or in this spot? And I don't think we can place it in this spot, because this can't be a 1, this can't be a 1, so there'd be a 1 in one of these spots. Meaning this 4 does not see an ascending sequence of 4 skyscrapers. So one of these is going to be like a dip. The 5's got to be up above. And that is all of our 5s. Done. This here is a 1 or a 4. This is 1 or a 4. I guess let's pencil in the pairs here real quick. This is a 2-3. This is a 1-4. This is a 1-4. This is a 2-3. Oh yeah, because down below here, in front of a 4 clue, we can't have the 1 anymore. It's got to be a 2. It can't be a 3 or higher, because that would block too much. So this 2, this can't be a 3 because of above. This is a 4, and this is the 3. We've got 1, 2, and a gap missing looking up here. Oh, 3 is limited to this spot in the top row. 3s are here, 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 here. And in the bottom row, it's got to be here. Four is down below here, so it's got to go to this side. That resolves the 1-4 pair. That gives us a 1 in this spot. 2 in this spot. Okay, we've cleared all our pencil marks pretty much, so let's get those out of the way. And now we've just got one more set of rows to resolve. This is a 2, so that means the 2 has to go up. The 1 has to go down. And we fill in our last 2 gaps. There we go. That one was actually kind of a bit more manageable. And that is our gapped skyscrapers. That was the playoff puzzles for the numbers. Mind you, I did solve these at about like half to a third of the speed that people actually solved them in real time in front of an audience, a small audience, but an audience, on an easel, so an unfamiliar writing surface, which was also throwing a lot of people off. That was not according to plan. So they really did something incredible at the playoff there, is what I'm saying. Anyway, I still have a long way to go there myself, but I think being able to solve these in my own time is still pretty good here. And I hope you enjoyed watching the solve as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.